Hi, welcome to my 13th episode of Closing the Gap, how to become the person you want to be compared to the person you are right now, how to close that gap. Again, the gap is something that I've mentioned before, which is this gap between the dreams you have and the reality of your life right now. And it's okay to have that gap. It's good that you have that gap because that means that you can change it and you can work on it and you can you have something to work towards rather than just being like, okay, my life's fine as it is. Like, you're in a good place if you have that realization, like, that I want to do more and I want to change. So, and that gap does require faith, and it requires hard work, and it requires discipline, and it requires taking stock of your life and thinking, okay, how am I going to break this down, and how am I going to analyze the things that I know that I need to do in order to become that person that I want to be. So yeah, this is good. It's a time for change, it's a time for motivation, it's a time for looking forward, and a time for hope. So yeah, I wanted to talk about this whole mindset of success and failure, and how often we might not feel we're worthy to have success, or to be in a place where we almost allow ourselves to get past this rut of failure and allow ourselves to have a new life that we dream of. Sometimes we feel like part of the reason we don't even try and close the gap is because we're afraid that we're not worthy, and we're afraid that we don't deserve it, and we're afraid that we can't handle it. So yeah, I think it's difficult sometimes to imagine yourself really in that life and imagine living that new lifestyle and being that person who is successful. And if you're in a place right now where you feel unsuccessful, it's kind of analysing, why do you feel unsuccessful? Like, what does success even mean to you? If closing the gap means something as stupid as or as simple as changing your job, changing your career, or even earning an extra few $1,000s a month or a year, that's okay. Or even, losing weight or whatever it is. I guess I'm going to try and talk about it from a point of view of a career, and like doing the job every day that you should be doing, or doing the job every day that is the person you are. So I think the first thing is analysing that root cause. Like, why do you feel like you're not worthy? Why do you feel like you should settle for the life you have right now? Or why do you feel like you might not be capable of living a life of success? And I think sometimes we go back to the whole not feeling worthy thing. Maybe we feel like we're going to mess it up, or maybe we feel like it's safer just to stay where we are and settle for a life of wanting, rather than actually going for it and living the life we dream of having. I think that there is a common misconception that success means happiness, because it doesn't. Like, closing the gap in your life doesn't mean you're going to be a more happy person than you are right now. And that's the thing that I tell myself. Like, I can be perfectly happy and perfectly content right now, but I know that I'm not necessarily created, just to have the life I have. I want to have a good job that I enjoy every day and I go towards, and I make a difference. I want to be someone who makes a difference in people's lives on an individual level, and also makes a difference in a business on a corporate level. Like, I know I have that in me. Like, I have ideas and I have discipline and I have abilities, and yeah, a lot to give. And we all have a lot to give in our own ways. But I think number one is realizing that your happiness isn't going to depend on your success. Your happiness should depend on the things that you know in your heart, that you are worthy, that you have a lot to give, and that success and happiness isn't about the money you earn or the car you drive. It's about the relationships you have potentially, and about the way you view yourself, and about the way that you treat other people. I think if you can stay the same person, stay grounded, and close the gap in terms of creating the life you want, then you have been successful. Like, there's nothing that you failed on. And keeping a reality check on what's important is really helpful to keep your priorities straight, and say, I'm not going to let success get to my head. I'm not going to let success change me and make me a horrible, selfish person. But I'm going to live that life I want to live, but I'm going to do it with generosity and kindness and grace, and have integrity. And I think I was reading a book recently about the heart of work and the heart of success, and it's so interesting because it's all the stuff that makes success is not about your pay packet. It's not about having an identity that's based upon your performance. It's about having an identity that's based upon your character. And I think in being successful and in trying to grasp the things that you're capable of doing, it's not wrong to use your gifts. It's not wrong to have the life you want, but at the cost of your character, at the cost of your integrity, at the cost of your relationships, it's not worth it. So I can understand why people are afraid of losing those things, but I think you can't be afraid of those things. You can't be afraid to try. You can monitor those things along the way, but to say to yourself realistically, I don't want to lose those things. I don't want to compromise on who I am as a person in order to have a life that's successful. If you can have people around you and you can keep yourself grounded in the truth that that isn't true success, and actually the most successful people are the people who can do great things and have great responsibility, but they don't change who they are. Like, they don't let power get to their head, and they're prepared to say, no, I'm going to stay humble. I'm going to stay true to who I am and what my beliefs are. Then that's the most important thing. And I feel like if we could be a people, if we could make ourselves stick to that ideal of saying, no, I will not compromise, I will not lie, I will not cheat, I will not steal, I will not serve my own good to a certain extent, then that's going to be the best way. We're going to be happier. We're going to be people who sleep well at night, have a clean conscience, and we can be successful and we can make an impact on the world, because the positions of influence that we will have are going to be matched with our character. So don't give up. Don't think that it's just about going out there and making yourself have this ridiculous job, and then actually those people who fail really truly are the people who fail because their character doesn't match up to the job they're doing. So yeah, I'd say in closing the gap, the most important thing you can do is work on your character, is work on those things that are important to you. Surround yourself with people who are going to believe in you and help you be that person who's going to get up every day and be like, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to love. I'm going to go out there, I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to have integrity, no matter what it means, because that to me is true success. The true success is someone who, when they die on their deathbed or whatever, or at their funeral, people say, that man was a man of integrity, that man was a man I could trust, that man was a man who put other people first. And I think I'd rather have that be said about me than someone say, oh, that man had loads of money and he was selfish. You know, there isn't really a question about it. But in the same vein, we can be successful and we can go out there and we can be different and be influential, and that's for me how I want to close the gap. I want to go out there and I want to be as successful as I can, and stretch myself and challenge myself and have the job that's the most difficult possible, but I don't want to do that at the cost of my character. I don't want to do that at the cost of my morals or my beliefs or my integrity and all my relationships. You know, all those things are more important to me. So as I take this journey on closing the gap in the areas in my life practically that I want to do, the most important thing that I will ever remember is that I have to be true to myself and keep the integrity that I know is important to me. So yeah, I hope that's an inspiration, and I hope that that there are people out there who also feel the same.